What's up, guys? It's Big Ziff here. Today we're going to be talking about a huge issue in the community right now, which is involving leaks for future patches of Genshin Impact. But before we get into the video, I want you guys to let me know down below in the comments what your opinions and thoughts are on leaks. I don't want to influence you with my opinions just yet. I just want to see what other people have thought of initially, because it seems to be a mixed bag of opinions. So the main issue that we're going to be talking about is pretty much everything that's major new content coming in 1.5 has already been leaked. This includes new characters, this includes a new potential housing system, this includes new bosses and potentially materials for those bosses, which is a huge problem, not on the consumer end because we love to just hype up these units and take it all in at once, but it's a problem for miHoYo. I will say that leaks have pretty much been happening even before the game came out. People knew about Ayaka and Xiao and all these other characters because of their earlier closed beta tests, and now it's becoming a really big issue that miHoYo is choosing not to ignore anymore. So the reason why miHoYo is mad is because these leaks are affecting their ability to make money, and it makes that 1.4 content, especially these rerun banners, less appealing to players now that they know that more new characters are coming out in 1.5. Normally, the way these gacha games work is that they want to kind of butter you up with maybe some older characters or a unit like Venti that people really have wanted for a long time, so that especially free-to-play players, they spend all their Primo Gems on them, and then when you least expect it, they drop these huge new units that are super strong, super gorgeous looking units, and they make free-to-play players go into their wallet or their mom's wallet and spend money on the game, and that's their main goal. But since a lot of this stuff has already been leaked, people are now cautioning themselves on summoning for Venti or Child, which, by the way, is what I was trying to tell you in my last video, not to summon for them. And yeah, so now miHoYo is essentially claiming that they're going to be coming for leakers, and I'll put the tweet up now on screen. Essentially, they're saying, recently we discovered people are distributing leaked content for 1.5, disrupts their plan to promote the new version, and it may give travelers misconceptions about new content. So they're saying, you know, some of this stuff might potentially not be in 1.5, even though we're almost guaranteeing that it is at this point since it's already been leaked. And then they responded to that comment by saying, you know, we're asking all travelers to resist the leaks and maintain fair gaming content. We also will increase our efforts to deal with such illegal discourses. So I'm going to just say this right now. All you other content creators, big or small, that have been leaking stuff for the past couple patches, like videos of characters renders or pictures of these character renders, please be extremely careful, or please consider stopping this, because miHoYo has a lot of money and they will come for you. And just to give you an idea, I personally stopped doing leaked stuff because I already had a copyright issue with miHoYo back in 1.2 before 1.3 came out. I had posted a picture in my YouTube video from another leaker on Twitter that was covering the Geovisha boss, and I got in trouble for it. I got a copyright strike, and for those of you that don't know, for a creator, you know, it's essentially like baseball, 3 strikes, you're out. So from that point on, I decided to never cover like any actual leaked or rendered footage or pictures or anything like that. And I suggest all of you other content creators, if you watch this, please do the same, because it'll only hurt you and your channel in the long run. But back to what I was saying with them being upset about people knowing now that there's going to be more hype units coming out. This is an extremely common gacha tactic, and it's used all the time in other gacha games. I personally have experienced this before in Naruto Blazing. If any of you know what that is, it's essentially just a Naruto mobile gacha game where they would do the same thing. They would have a lot of banner reruns for characters that were really strong, and then literally they'd announce like a 6-star unit which had never been seen before right after that, and people would be forced to spend money to get their gems. And while I don't agree with this method of, you know, miHoYo or other gacha games making money, I still think that there are ways that they can fix the leak issue without necessarily, you know, destroying all leakers and their, you know, their credibility and their efforts. So a really good suggestion I saw, courtesy of Valk, I'll put his channel on screen now. He is an awesome content creator if you haven't seen him. And I really liked his idea for miHoYo to implement some sort of plan that lets players know when they intend to drop certain characters. He called it a roadmap. I think that's a really good analogy. It's like, what characters and or maybe not content, but what characters do we plan to release, from now until 2.0, that sort of thing. That way, it's a little bit more transparent with the community in terms of what units they want to hype themselves up for, and they don't necessarily need to have leakers tell us about that anymore. Even though that would still happen, I feel like it would be a little bit less overwhelming and less of a shock to the community that these bigger characters are coming out if miHoYo just said, hey, we plan on releasing Varka in 1.7 or something like that. I think it would ease a lot of the community down, hopefully a little bit. In addition to this, if they were feeling really generous, they could tell us, release some graphics of these characters, like maybe just an image of their headshot and then some materials that they'll need, something like that can let the community know and just start preparing ahead of time. Again, I just think this allows for more transparency with the community, especially the free-to-play community, and it takes some of the pressure off of the leakers. Obviously, miHoYo is a company at the end of the day, and they're going to want to do what's in the best interest of their company, especially in terms of money. But I just think Genshin as a whole is kind of transcending what it means to be a gacha game, not necessarily in terms of the rates and the primo gems per se, but in terms of the community it's fostering and the gameplay itself. It's so beautiful. It's very similar to some other sandbox games, but I just think that we need more clarity between the company and the community because they listen to a lot of the feedback we give them on certain characters like that need fixes, like Zhongli, for example, but they haven't really given us much on the future state of the game and where it's headed. It would be nice to get some of these general plans for the future and some solid info on that from miHoYo themselves. It doesn't need to be anything too aggressive. They don't need to tell us everything that they plan. Just, little drops of information that kind of let people prepare. And another solution to the leaking issue, or at least to alleviate some of that pressure, is for miHoYo to add other things in the game that take people's attention away from the leaks, like dungeons or even raids for rewards, or less resin-gated content for rewards, maybe multiple different versions of the Spiral Abyss, or more chest spawns and respawn timers, and more ways for people to obtain primo gems. Just, some things like this. Obviously, they could have more ideas, but just some things like this to keep us busy in between the patches so people aren't so obsessed over who the next character is. Just anything they can do really to alleviate some of that pressure. And just to kind of wrap things up, I want to add my own personal opinion on leaks. I think that when the game first came out, I was really enjoying leaks because it would get me really excited about the content that was coming out and new characters or new areas like Dragon Spine, things like that. It was really cool because the game was so new that we didn't really know any of this stuff. But now I don't really like them as much because the game has been out for so long. It's oftentimes makes these new characters and patches pretty lackluster when you know everything that's going to be out on the first day. So like with 1.3, that's kind of what happened. Like as soon as Xiao released, I got Xiao. I really enjoyed his gameplay and stuff. But then the entirety of the rest of the game, Primo Geovishap, all this stuff, I already knew about it, so it wasn't very cool when it actually released. I wasn't very excited about any of the Lantern Rite stuff, and I really hope that miHoYo, obviously they're going to be taking some legal action, right? There's no way around this. Certain creators or leakers are going to be getting either really hard fines, they're going to be getting sued, they're going to have to go to court, or they're going to have their content or channels taken down completely. So I'm not a huge fan of leaks anymore. I think it kind of ruins some of the excitement for the game, especially when we have to wait a month and a half in between these larger patches. So again, if you're a leaker or a content creator that posts leaks, just please try to mitigate that or lessen it to a degree so that we aren't all feeding into this, overwhelming hype for things. Obviously, it's okay to get hyped about new units and new elements and things like that. I think that's a great way for us to kind of come together. But at the same time, it's kind of gotten to a point where it's too much for not only the community, but for miHoYo to handle because it seems to be disrupting their ability to do work, right? They have this stuff that they're planning, they have stuff that they're wanting to work on, but instead of doing things like getting the two-factor authentication and making sure people's accounts are secure or maybe giving us more primo gems in certain ways, they are now going to be focusing a lot of their attention and resources on stopping leakers and preventing that content from coming out anymore. Now, if miHoYo was able to prevent leaks for certain characters and only, tell us about specific ones that they wanted us to know about, this would probably be the best case scenario. So like, for example, we kind of already know there's at least new characters coming in 1.5. If they were able to leak one of them, like the 4-star unit, for example, and give us maybe just a small animation or, what element they are, what weapon they use, maybe some materials they need, that I think would be enough in the sense that it would keep us calm and not be like overhyping the whole thing as a whole, right? Because now it's like we know everything that's coming out and everyone is talking about everything on Twitter and stuff, and it's trending. So it would be really helpful for miHoYo to do that for themselves, and it would also help to maintain the integrity of the game and allow for new content to be a little bit more of a surprise and excite some people later on the first day of these patches. If we only knew about one character, for example, and they allowed certain things to be leaked for that one character but not for this other character, I think that might be good for the community as a whole. But anyways, that's going to be my little rant for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, smash that like button and that subscribe button. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.